An alien princess kissed her human groom, only to awaken the man everyone thought was lost forever. The grand halls of the Celestra Citadel shimmered beneath twin suns, their glassy spires gleaming like molten crystal. Beyond its towering gates, the galaxy's nobility gathered, aliens of every hue, adorned in iridescent robes, murmuring in disbelief. At the center of it all stood Princess Lyra of the Draconis Dominion, the last of the dragon-blooded royals, her silver scales faintly glowing beneath a veil of starlight silk. Today was her wedding day, and her groom, her destined partner by decree, was a human. But not just any human. He was Captain Elias Trent, the hero of the Orion Wars, the man who had once saved her people from extinction and who had since lain in an unending coma for 5 years. His body, preserved in stasis, had been brought to the Citadel under orders from the Galactic Council. They said this union would symbolize peace between humans and Draconians. To Lyra, it felt like a cruel performance, one where love was replaced by politics, and the only partner she would have was a silent, sleeping man. Yet when she looked at him lying there, his chest rising faintly, his face calm, eyes closed, she felt something stir. The same strange warmth she'd felt when he'd carried her from the battlefield years ago, half-conscious, bloodied, whispering, "You're safe now." That moment had bound her heart long before today's vows ever would. The ceremony began beneath the glowing canopy of the stellar garden. Lyra stood before the human's capsule, surrounded by chanting priestesses and the hum of the draconian choir. The ritual was ancient, older than the stars themselves. The final step required the bride's seal of union, a symbolic gesture that would tie their spirits. The priestess handed Lyra the ceremonial circlet, a band of living light that pulsed with the rhythm of her heart. "Princess Lyra of Draconis," the elder intoned, "do you swear to uphold peace through this union?" Her throat tightened. "I swear." "Then seal your vow with the kiss of awakening." The crowd murmured. It was meant to be a mere tradition, a gesture of devotion, not literal magic. But Lyra stepped forward anyway, her breath trembling. She touched his cheek. It was warm. And in that moment, she didn't see a political pawn or a relic of war. She saw him, the man who had shielded her from fire, the human who had smiled despite bleeding, the one who had whispered comfort to a dying princess. Her lips brushed his. The world went silent. Then, light exploded. The air rippled like molten glass. The capsule shattered outward, fragments hovering midair before dissolving into dust. The sound of a breath, long, deep, alive, echoed across the hall. Elias Trent opened his eyes. Blue, bright, piercing, the same eyes she had dreamed of. Gasps erupted across the chamber. The priestesses fell to their knees. The counselors stumbled back. But Lyra couldn't move. Her heart thundered as he turned to her, confusion flickering into recognition. "Lyra?" His voice was hoarse, raw, but real. Tears blurred her vision. You're awake." He blinked at the crowd. What's happening?" She let out a shaky laugh. "Apparently, our wedding." Within hours, the Citadel was chaos. Doctors and mystics flooded the hall, scanning him, trying to understand the impossible. By all accounts, Elias had been brain dead. No signal, no consciousness. And yet, his vitals now pulsed stronger than ever. They ran tests. They debated. But no one had an answer. Only Lyra's hand in his seemed to calm the storm within him. Whenever she left the room, his heart rate spiked. Whenever she returned, it steadied. When night fell, she sat by his bedside in the crystal chamber, the stars reflecting off the floor like scattered diamonds. Do you remember anything? She asked softly. He frowned, staring into the dark. I remember saving you. Then fire.
Pain.
And your voice. He turned to her. You were calling me back. Lyra's eyes widened. You heard me? In the dark, he said slowly. It was cold, endless. I kept drifting. But then I heard you whisper, don't go. And I couldn't. She pressed a trembling hand to her mouth. That wasn't real. I used to talk to your stasis capsule. Every night. Then maybe that's what saved me, he said, smiling faintly. Your voice. Her breath hitched. It was just a kiss. A tradition. Maybe, he said. Or maybe love is stronger than science wants to admit. The next day, the Galactic Council demanded an explanation. They called it an anomaly, a miracle, or worse, manipulation. Rumors spread that Lyra had used forbidden draconian life magic to resurrect him. Humans feared it was sorcery. Draconians feared it was weakness. But Elias refused to hide. He stood before the entire council, voice steady despite the chaos. You call it impossible, but maybe it's proof that we're not so different. The same energy that flows through her people, the essence they call Kirin, is the same spark that keeps humans alive. Maybe that bond just needed a bridge. Lyra stepped beside him. And that bridge is love. The silence that followed was heavier than any speech could bear. For the first time, the galaxies saw something beyond war, beyond race. A draconian princess and a human soldier, two hearts that had defied death and politics alike. But not all were pleased. In the shadows of the Citadel, General Varkon, a draconian hardliner, watched with cold fury. To him, the awakening was not a miracle, it was a threat. If humans can awaken our ancient power, he hissed, then they can destroy it. He gathered a faction in secret, those who believed Lyra's act had cursed their bloodline. They planned to end the union before it truly began. That night, as the twin moons rose over the city, an explosion shattered the peace. Lyra and Elias were thrown apart by the blast, glass raining from the ceilings. Smoke filled the chamber. Guards rushed in, roaring, but through the chaos, Varkan soldiers surrounded the pair. Your love defies our gods, Varkan snarled. And so, it ends here. Lyra stepped forward, wings flaring, silver and blazing. You'll not touch him. Elias grabbed a fallen blaster, standing beside her. You'll have to get through both of us. The chamber ignited in blue fire. Draconian energy and human defiance fused in a storm of light. Lyra's power surged, flowing through Elias's hands as though the kiss had linked their souls forever. The air trembled as they unleashed a shockwave that sent their attackers sprawling. When the smoke cleared, the rebels lay unconscious. Varkan fled into the night. Lyra collapsed to her knees, trembling. Elias caught her before she fell. I told you, he whispered, smiling weakly. I'm not leaving you again. She looked up at him, this fragile human who had faced gods and war for her, and for the first time, she understood what destiny truly meant. Weeks later, peace returned to the stars. The rebellion was crushed, the council disbanded the old barriers, and the Treaty of the Twin Hearts was signed, uniting Draconis and humanity under one alliance. On the balcony of the Celestra Citadel, beneath the same twin suns that had once witnessed a hollow ceremony, Lyra and Elias stood together again, alive, whole, free. You know, Elias said, taking her hand, when I dreamed, I used to see you waiting on a balcony like this. But I never thought I'd actually wake up to it. Lyra smiled softly, resting her forehead against his. Then dream no more, my human. You're home.